All right, now we're going to talk about some resist methods that don't include masking fluids. So just going to outline which ones I've used. So I've got a white Crayola crayon, a candle, a green oil pastel, a Caran white oil pastel crayon, oil bar, oil paint stick, Sennelier. These are 5 Senneliers. Clear soft oil pastel, yellow soft oil pastel, like a burnt sienna soft oil pastel, an iridescent white oil pastel, and a silver. Now on this side, I've used China markers. This is a yellow China marker, a white, the red, and a black, and a little bitty green. There's my green one. Moving on, I'm using these Jerry's Artorama that I ordered because they said they were oil-based, but when you use them, they feel very much like a charcoal, a harder charcoal. So we're going to see if they do resist. Jet white and sepia. So I'm just going to move these aside, and I mixed up some green paint, and we're just going to go over and see what happens. So what do all these have in common is they have some kind of resisting mechanism, either oil, as in the oil pastels, or crayon, candle. Crayon and candle are wax-based. So you can see the China markers come up very well. I might have to put a little more on. Once you test it, you know how much of the markers or crayons or pencils that you have to add to make it work. Oh, there was another white China marker at that end. All right, so then I'll show you somewhere I've used them in. Yeah, you can learn all these things and not have a clue what to do with them. All right. Okay, now that the green paint has dried, you can see how it reacted to the resist materials. So if you have a textured paper, putting down a harder resist material, such as this green oil pastel, this candle, and then these pastels that are so soft, if you put a lot of pressure on it, they'd just melt into the page. So you can see the little speckles of the green coming through, or the green went through to the paper because it was still exposed. So the China marker is a great drawing tool, and it's very hard, and you use it with a certain amount of pressure, and it doesn't leave much at all. So is the Jumbo Jerry's Artorama, 3 items I put here, the jet black, the white, and the sepia. I think the white, I could have been a little heavier. Who knows? Now I'd like to show you an example of how I'm going to combine tricks. So I did a uneven wash first, right? Then I used that wave stencil, and then in pencil I drew a little chair because I really do like, and I'm using a bit of chair imagery. All right, so maybe that's too dark and it's going to go show through once I put the material on. So I'm just going to use a magic eraser and lift it so it's not there as much. So kneaded eraser, you always look for a new spot, and it made that chair quite a bit lighter. Sort of just barely there. Now what color am I going to use? I think I will use the white China marker. So I'm just going to go over where my lines were of the chair. And then my plan is to put then a wash over it. I can also use 2 colors, or as many as I want on this. So this is all in case you can't get to the store to buy masking fluid. If you have masking fluid, great. So I'm going to mix this media. I'm now going to put on top of the white China marker some of this Jerry's Artorama Jumbo Sepia. So maybe it looks a little more chair-like. So it's just going right in between the white spaces. All right, there we go. All right, now we're going to put in another wash. So what I'm going to do is, when I do washes, let me take this off its pad now. When I do washes, and I've already got something that could be very delicate, like these wave lines on, I use a very soft brush, and I use an angle that is very low to the paper, and I don't scrub a lot, just delicately, because I still like the nice, oops, now the paper's moving, hard edge of that I just put on. Now you can see how, well, I can see how it's beating up on the resist material, the China marker, and the Jerry's Artorama drawing material. All right. So my thing to tell you is always to practice the technique. Try combining them. Make us have a mystery. Which did they do first? How can they figure it out? There it is. There's using 2 of it. And when it's done, I might blot on top of the chair because there still is a little material on there. All right, I want to show you a couple that I've done in the past using multiple techniques, and especially the resist one. I'm going to hold this here. So this is that wave stencil. First I put a light wash on there. Then I used the wave stencil. I used the resist. And I used crayon, multiple crayon. So there's a way you can use it multiple ways.
Same kind of thing, except I didn't do much at all to the, what we might call sky portion. Part of the original wave I put on, the original wash that I put on. And I'm not sure if you can see it here, and here I went in and put a little marker on it, a little white marker. I used a China marker to bring up another white top of a wave. Here's another one where I used 2 colors, a yellow and a white. Again, same 3 techniques, spraying, bleeding into the sky from an original wash, the wave pattern of a purchased stencil, and then white China marker. All right, so there's a few versions. You want to think about how you can use multiple things on any one project.